Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Union Leipzig Career Mode series. We have a pivotal moment here in the summer transfer window where we need a striker because the depth, unfortunately, is just not there. However, our director of football's told us that in order to bring in the target that they have at striker, we need to raise money, which means making a tough decision and potentially selling one of our players in order to get a new one in. Now, we don't have the deepest roster right now, and the only player I can even think of that would get us that much is Daniel Stein, who's been playing as a backup right back for us. He's pretty talented, but in this system with a back three, I just don't have that much use for a natural out-and-out winger. He's been a substitute in games where we're chasing goals, and with only one appearance this season, again, I think he's our best choice. So an offer does indeed come in, and it's gonna be worth a lot. $710,000 would be more than enough to cover what we need for our striker, and then some to backfill his position as well. So this actually could work out for us. But in terms of other transfers, there's just no way we're selling our other stars, especially Vincent Sommer, who's been our breakout academy player. I'm not accepting any offers for him unless he forces a move. So time will tell if this deal actually goes through or not. In the meantime, we gotta get back to the action, and we have some work to do. We're sitting in 10th place. I think we could do a lot better than start of our season has been so far, but we're definitely building a strong core of players, and I'm excited to see where we can take this team. All right, well, here we go back into action, and leading the charge is Vincent Sommer for our youth academy. Obviously, the new focus this season is on promoting even more players, but he's been the only one who's taken the step up out of our academy and has been a surefire starter for a whole season at this point. So he's kind of become like the gold standard for academy players to look at and kind of model their own progression after. And we also have a pretty well-balanced team full of experienced players in addition to youth, and a great save from the new goalkeeper Peterman keeps us in the action here. And you know, all said and done, coming up to the second division here, I would have thought we'd be doing worse than we are, but I think we've actually done a good job building a solid team here. The style of play we have with this back three, it's so fluid and the possession is so good. I mean, I've said this a bunch of times already, but if we could finish better, I think we could be a top team, as we're just trying to get a shot off here. Nothing is making its way through. So we go into the second half goalless, but definitely having been the better team, we created a lot. Again, it's just finding a ball through when it actually counts. But hopefully we have players who are starting to be able to do that more often. Julian Bush is obviously kind of the emerging star in this team, and one who we hope this will be a big season for as Fofana finds him. Talk about a timely comment. Julian Bush scores the opening goal of the game and continues his rise to stardom. Still a little inconsistent, but still young and learning to play as an out-and-out striker. He's got bags of talent, and that proves why. Look at that first touch. Credit the pass, but he controlled it perfectly, and that's a top finish as well. And now we have some decisions to make. I mean, the goal this season is supposed to be to give our youth players minutes, but in a game like this where we're barely leading, I don't know, players like Haas, Walter, Makoko, sure, they have a lot of potential and some decent attributes, but they're not the kind of players that I can feel comfortable bringing off the bench in such a tight game right now. So they remain there with half an hour left to play. I don't know. Our starting 11 is so much stronger than the options on the bench. I don't, again, feel comfortable making any changes right now. Our backline's been good. Our offense is slowly but surely kind of coming together, and I just don't want to rock the boat. This is now our third season under the same system and kind of tactics, and I think we're finally putting it all together. We have players in every position who fit our style, and how about this shaping up? Julian Bush Fofana makes a mess of the finish, and again, oof. Well, could use some help on the finish, definitely, but like I was saying, I think we've actually built a solid team around the kind of players we want. I mean, players like Stein leaving really just show that. Like, we need a left and right midfielder who can do the defensive duties as well. I think so far Wolski and Brandt have been really good at that. So let's give Haas, though, the young player, a chance, and we're also bringing Makoko off the bench with about 15 minutes left. This is when we can start to experiment a bit with the younger players. But as the game goes on, it's clear, I mean, they're just not the same caliber. A big mistouch there from Makoko gives the ball away. And then with the game winding down here, Alexander Haas looking to get involved with a little 1-2. Just not quite on the same page. And then the inexperience from him to give away a free kick. That's disappointing, but I mean, maybe to be expected. I think he's only 16 years of age, so a lot of learning and growing still left to do. And I think this game's just a big reminder, even for me, that although the board is mandating that we kind of put a focus on youth, they're not all just going to come into the starting 11 and be ready. I mean, we got lucky with Vincent Sommer that he was, but the rest of these players, we're going to need to kind of manage carefully as they grow. But either way, big game, a huge win for the team, and honestly, we're looking pretty good this season. There's still a long way to go, but we're in the top half of the table, which isn't too bad for a team that's kind of just come up here, and I think we're trending in the right direction. But it's also transfer deadline day, which means the team could be changing even more. We've wanted a top striker for competition up top, and I think we're gonna get it because we just secured that transfer for Daniel Stein in a whopping $710,000. And now we can see who the board has targeted for us. Morten Adamson, a big target man style striker who actually could offer us something completely different up top. Now this isn't exactly the profile of striker that we've been building around, and this is the problem with having the director of football kind of automate our transfers. But I can't lie, our track record for signings has actually been great so far, all the way down to Julian Bush, who we initially thought wouldn't fit our system, but turned out to be probably the best player in our team. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that this signing will be a net positive for us. So we've got a new striker in our team, and that gives us 3 solid options to pick from across those front 2 positions. And it's been an interesting window for us. I mean, Adamson and Peterman both coming in have been pretty solid additions to our first team. We've had a couple of loans, and that big sale for Daniel Stein is carrying a lot of our finances right now. But we do still have a little money left in the bank, which means we can at least sign a backup right back replacement. And again, I'm gonna go with someone a little more defensive than Stein was to actually give us a viable option if, God forbid, we have an injury in that position. So we've got one last signing in this window, Sasha Laurent, a French right back who will give us some adequate cover in that position. And all in all, I think we actually did some solid business. We did have to spend a good amount, but hopefully these are just sort of the last key pieces we need solving in our starting 11. And from here, I think we have a solid core to go on for the future. And I mean, all credit to the board who have brought in the signings we needed positions in, specifically striker. I mean, this has kind of been the one thing missing for us for a while. And obviously Laurent is going to be a great addition as well for some depth in our defensive setup. But the truth is, even with these new signings, we have a pretty lightweight squad. This is just enough to add some players into our reserves. Both of these players definitely won't be in the reserves. I think they're expected to, at bare minimum, be good rotation options, but I think Adamson can really even challenge for a position up top. We'll give him a few weeks to settle in and see, but I don't know, Fofana, especially this season, hasn't necessarily been the strongest option. We've seen him missing some chances, and maybe just a more direct kind of striker can give us something a little different in games where we just need a goal. But with 1 hour left here on transfer deadline day, Felix Kruger, our star central midfielder, has a pretty significantly sized offer come in. However, I mean, this is going to be a flat-out rejection. This is one of those players that's just the underrated kind of spirit of our team. He's been leading midfield defensively and offensively. I think one of our most underrated players, and there's just no way we're letting him go unless he absolutely forces a move out. Another player getting an offer in too little too late is David Grbic, who, again, I think has been a little underrated. He's been a huge signing since coming in and really has revitalized our defense. All right, well, with that said, finally, the transfer window is over, and I think the last player worth mentioning is Julian Bush, who's starting to catch some serious attention, winning Player of the Month, and I think well-deserved. 3 goals and 5 appearances, but you can see the cost that comes at. He's the only player who's scored for us so far, and I think, I mean, it's been clear that we need another good striking option. I think that just reaffirms how important it's going to be for us to have Adamson in the team now. All right, so everything's settled. We're getting back to the action. Same starting 11 as usual, but now we have a little more depth on the bench. Adamson, again, I don't think is ready to start just yet, but I think it's very likely we'll see him if we don't find an early goal in this game. But also, having stepped up to a new division, I mean, we're gonna have to be very careful about our defense as well. It looks solid so far, but the level of opposition here is way higher than we're used to. And honestly, once we start coming up against like the real top teams here, it's going to be pretty hard for us to look as stable as we have so far. But again, so far so good. And I think a lot of this is just due to the quality of players. David Grbic again with an interception. For a team that had a really bad defense in our first season, I think we're getting a reputation as being able to withstand a lot of pressure. It's not pretty, and I think we definitely could have conceded 1 or 2 of those, but we do stand firm here 15 minutes into the game. What a chaotic start we've had here. but the possession's starting to settle down. We're seeing that intricate passing that Union Leipzig are becoming so known for under this manager as Simon Wolf plays it through. And now, how about a little counterattack as Alexander Brandt, the right back, gets forward. Julian Busch in the box, chance, goal, beautiful from our star once again. He's becoming better and better by the day, but all credit to everybody involved. It started with the defense. It was a great counterattack through the middle, good passing from Kruger and Sommer, and then our right back getting all the way forward and providing the assist. I said it earlier in this episode, but I think every single player in this team is so important to the way that we're playing right now. We're building a top side. And now Union in full control of this game. Julian Busch does well with the hold-up play, and again, Alexander Brandt getting forward. He's finding a lot of space here. Julian Busch in the middle, and he can't quite get on the end of it, but somehow the deflection takes it back into his path. A little fortunate, but a well-worked play nonetheless. Julian Busch scores, and Alexander Brandt gets another assist. Incredible from the team. Well, the offense has done their job, and now it's time for us to just hang on defensively. If we could get a clean sheet, this would be a really good performance for us. But as the ball's forward, it's a good save from the new goalkeeper, Peterman, who's done a good job so far. Now, Peterman's not young, and he might not be our super long-term goalkeeping solution, but in the short term, wow, another great save from him. He's more than doing the job. All right, well, with the game winding down, now's a good chance to bring on our new signings and start to get them used to the team. Adamson up top at striker, and then obviously our new right back, Laurent, as well. I don't know, let's just see what they're capable of. Daniel Haas also came on a few minutes ago, the young academy left back, and I think these are the good games to start getting some of the fringe players sort of acclimated to the squad. And although nothing ends up happening for the remainder of the game, it's a really important win. 3 big points again. And I think it's just proof that Union Leipzig really are building something special here. We have what it takes to be competing at this level after just getting promoted. Now, I don't want to get too excited too fast. It's only been 6 games, but we're in 3rd place, and largely that's on the back of Julian Busch, who has 5 goals in 5 matches now. I mean, that's simply incredible. However, again, it's a small sample size. We still need to be careful about who is scoring all of our goals. If Busch gets injured, we're done for. No one else has scored a goal yet this season. I don't think that'll last for too long, but hopefully we can see players like Adamson step up there. But the most important part of our team right now is our defensive record. 3 goals in 6 games is pretty solid. So far, we've been the best defensive team in the league, and hopefully that continues as we continue to build around that core back line. But it gets put to the test week after week as it's clear, again, the opposition here is a lot harder than what we had been used to down in Division 3. But some of these players like Vincent Sommer are just so key winning the ball back in midfield. And it actually goes all the way up to our front line with players like Fofana doing some good defensive work all the way up top at striker. And as Peterman makes another save, we're put under a lot of pressure here. As we go into the second half, Union Leipzig have barely had a sniff of the opponent's final third, and this could be a chance here as Peterman makes another save. Well, our defense has been good so far, but we're conceding a lot of possession and chances, and surely we can only hold on for so long if the game continues to go this way. But Nico Fofana now finding a lot of space to run into it. He's got Busch ahead of him. Busch using his pace well. Could this be a chance? Julian Busch, our star player this season. It's a good save from their goalkeeper this time. And that was our only real chance so far in this one. We gotta make a change now. This is exactly the reason that we brought in players like Adamson, who can just be a more direct option when we need a goal. So I'm gonna have to be a little more creative here, though. I don't want to take off Busch and Fofana. Rather, I'm gonna push Wolf to deeper. Maybe bring Adamson up top. We're gonna need to work out exactly how to make the best of our options here, but I think what we can do for now actually is put Busch out on the left wing and just replace our left winger with Adamson. Now we have 3 attackers, and hopefully this should just give us a little more control over the game, some more attacking players. It's a little risky, obviously, because now we have Busch trying to do defensive duties, which is not by any means his strong suit. And Union's still pushing for a winner here, but no goal just yet, and unfortunately, committing so many players forward means we're a little exposed at the back as Lucas Schultz is covering now. It looks like we do have our options covered, but a clever little reverse pass into the space. No one's there to close it down, and we concede with 15 minutes remaining in the game. That may just be the death blow. We've come up empty-handed trying to score a goal, and now we pay the price defensively as we concede ourselves. Time not up just yet though, as Julian Bush on the wing is looking to make one final run as Adamson plays it through. It's good link-up play from these two. Julian Bush now, can he find the pass? Oh, tries to sneak it through for Fofana, but unfortunately, that was the last play of the game. Union Leipzig suffer a defeat, and it's a game of fine margins. We couldn't find enough chances ourselves, and losing concentration in a single moment was enough for us to drop 3 points. Well, it's no big mystery what our big problem is this season. It's goals, and we still have yet to see a goal from literally anybody but Julian Bush. If he's off it on any given night, it just seems like there's no way we score. I'm especially disappointed in Fofana, who despite his 2 assists, hasn't been up to his usual standards. So hopefully things start to settle a little more and we find our rhythm again. But in the meantime, the search for a young goalkeeper continues as our entire scouting department is focused on that this season. And we have a couple good options emerging. I mean, it's taken us now 3 seasons to try to find an adequate replacement for Stefan Kraus, and he himself is helping the search here. We have 2 good options already, Joe Lang and Bruno Weber, Jonas Lang rather, and Bruno Weber. But again, neither of them ready for the first team just yet. We're gonna continue the search. Maybe we'll evaluate at the end of the season. In the meantime though, this is the lineup we get back into the action with. Let's try to get back to winning ways. The big focus for me in this team right now is, I keep saying it, but trying to find more goals and where we can get them. And I don't know, if we don't see more soon, as Fofana takes a poor touch, if we don't see more soon, we might have to really consider making Adamson a bigger part of this team. The thing is, we have 2 strikers right now who both love the link-up play. Julian Bush and Fofana are both really good on the ball and in their passing, but not necessarily with the finishing, even though Bush is getting better. Another chance through, and it's another offsides. Again, we're seeing all the chemistry and link-up play, but just a little bit off in the margins. And although, again, the possession and build-up play behind is really good, and it's nice to have, if these players can't finish, I think it is time to maybe consider somebody else, and that would be our new signing, Adamson. But I may have spoken too soon, as Fofana answers that call directly with a goal. And, despite being definitely under his usual standards this season, maybe it's a sign that things are starting to click for us here. Even though it hasn't been super clinical from our front line, this is why we love them. We've seen like 3 or 4 plays already where either Fofana to Bush or Fofana, they're both capable of picking out the passes. And hey, if they can score goals, that's all we need. And so far, so good as Union hang on to our lead. We've looked totally comfortable in this game, but a slim 1-goal lead is definitely nothing we want to rely on. So we're desperately trying to find another here as Wolf plays it through for Fofana. His touch lets him down, and again, just a little disappointing from our number 9. But regardless, Union do manage to hang on, and we come away with a win. We're back to it, but these slim 1-goal victories are not going to be probably sustainable for the whole season. We do still have a lot of room for improvement. However, a solid foundation means we get another win. All right, well, look at that, 5th place. And all said and done, our expectation this season was just really to survive, and we're head and shoulders above that right now. I think even given the current limitations of our team, we're far ahead of where we were thought to be this season. And all credit really to the system and some of the emerging players here. But as we get back to the action, we're gonna stick with what's working. And so far, I think we've got our starting 11. Now, the big focus this season was supposed to be around youth, but the truth is, without the youth in the starting 11, we look at our strongest. Summer is the only exception who has come out of the academy and been a real star player for us. But as Alexander Brandt gets forward here, we have the opportunity, the composure to pick him out, and Wolf has a shot at goal saved. But I'm gonna be totally honest here, any of the youth players who want minutes or significant minutes out of this team are going to have to take a step up. I'm just not willing right now to give them playing time for the sake of it. And as Alexander Brandt gets forward, Fofana has a chance, and again, that's a good save from the keeper. But with our normal starting 11 playing so well, any other players, even the new signings like Adamson or Laurent, are gonna have to give us a really good reason why they deserve minutes over the players who are there right now, as Julian Bush looks to take on a man that's not quite the best from him, but oh my god, he's given a penalty! That is unbelievable, and that's just what Julian Bush offers. That wasn't necessarily the most elegant bit of dribbling, but he found a way through and he found a way to draw the penalty. And now the captain, Simon Wolf, has a chance to become the 3rd goal scorer for our team this season as, he puts it right in the bottom corner. That is clinical from our leader. And our number 10, once again, is getting himself back into form as well. Union Leipzig really starting to come together this season. And we're just playing with such an intensity from all the way in the back line to the front line as Fofana gets a little overeager. That's definitely going to be pulled back for a foul and a card, but that's just what he offers us outside of scoring goals. And while there's always some room for improvement, I feel like for the most part, the players we have in our squad, I wouldn't necessarily replace for anyone else at the moment. Everything is working so well, and oh my God, that was almost an incredible run there from Julian Bush, and man, he is really emerging as a top player this season. Now, we've been pretty patient with Bush through his lack of finishing, and hold on one second as the play is shaping up here. Bouchard is there to cut it out. Wow, Union Leipzig hanging on here with 10 minutes remaining. It's important we keep this clean sheet. That is so well done. And then the composure in the back line here, this possession system that we've built, the player is super comfortable playing out from the back, and we maintain our composure. And now, with only 3 minutes left in the game, I think it's time. Fofana's on a yellow card. Let's bring on Adamson, but actually, you know what? Adamson, I'm going to give him a bigger run out soon, but for now, I think it's important to just get some appearances for our young players. Mokoko's going to come on, and then I'll throw on a new signing, Laurent, but also our other academy kid. Where is he? There, Alexander Haas. He's going to come on as well. I think it's important in games like this just to keep morale high, to give our youth players a chance. And in a position they're not necessarily expected to do that much. It's just more experience and exposure. Again, the focus for this team is supposed to be around youth going forwards. So I think as long as we can kind of keep their morale high and keep them developing, they could be important players for us in the future. And again, as our academy graduate Victor Sommer plays it through midfield, Julian Bush with the little flick, we might have another chance on here, but the touch it couldn't quite get out of the feet from our captain Simon Wolf, and as it's headed down, that's the full-time whistle, and that is another 1-0 victory for Union Leipzig. 3 big points, and what a performance from this team again. Now, I've said this a bunch already, but we are way overperforming so far this season compared to where we were supposed to be. And I think that has to be in large part due to Julian Bush and the goals that he's contributed to this team. He's taken a huge step up this season, and unfortunately, that might mean we're risking losing our best player if he gets a little too good for us, but that's a bridge we'll have to cross when we get to it. In the meantime, we're continuing to scout for goalkeepers around the world. Hopefully we'll find a German talent, because that's kind of the focus, but we do also have some scouts set up in Poland and the surrounding areas as well. And got a couple options here. We're gonna have to narrow them down though. So anybody who I don't think is in serious contention, I'm just going to straight up get rid of for now. And I think we have a couple decent goalkeeping options left. I think specifically Lang and Weber look to be our front runners so far. Weber, low 60s potential. I know these potentials aren't necessarily the be-all end-all because those change a lot, but I think it's clear he's not really in the running either. Outside of that, we have a couple good options in our academy. For other positions, we'll have to see where they fit in over time. But again, for now, this is sort of the focus for the future. So we'll get back to the action, but that's gonna come next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you for the next one.